Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
So this is what you want to do. We want a depressing Tuesday. That's what we want.
Yeah, today it's the most depressing, saddest breakup songs ever. Yeah. Come on, Chris. Every person can relate. Hopefully not recently in your life, but every person can relate. Your younger years, like in high school. I'm not talking about, hey, you want to go out third period and sixth period, I think it's over. I'm talking about, like the sweetheart broke your heart. You're like we were going to be forever. And you're like, dude, you dated 4 days, but you don't understand
the connection we felt.
Right. Then maybe, you get through college and you think this is the one. And yeah, like the most depressing songs. You're like, come on, you want to go out? You're like, no, man, I just want to listen to this song over and over.
Why do we want to depress people today?
It's funny. I'm going to make fun of it. Okay. That's why. I'm not trying to make anybody depressed. My goal is to have people hear songs are like, oh, yeah, that's depressing. Yeah, that's it. Because the argument back is if you're depressed and heartbroken over someone, maybe listening to sad songs is not the best thing to do.
So then why are we playing it for them?
Because it's funny. We're making fun of that. Okay? That's why. 50857 on the text line. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't believe we broke up. You guys went miniature golfing. I know. It was a big round. Yeah.
So many jokes to make about that.
Do you want to go out? Yes or no? Check the box.
Yes, no, maybe.
Oh, man. Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Beat of Sports. Marc Daniels, Chris Vasquez is over there. By the way, at the end of the show yesterday, I did look up. You can buy a Muggsy Bogues 5X Charlotte Hornets jersey. What we were talking about, I saw the guy wearing a Tracy McGrady jersey, and the dude was like 6'2",
Nothing wrong with
320.
it. Nothing wrong with it.
Wearing a Tracy, and I just said, you've got to somewhat be similar. And
nothing wrong with it.
then we got into some of Muggsy Bogues, like, what if a guy weighs 350 with a Muggsy Bogues jersey? I said, no, but you can buy a 5X Muggsy Bogues jersey. There's no one weighing over 300 that goes, you know what? Let me go get a Muggsy Bogues jersey.
What about a 6'5" person rocking a Nate Robinson?
Yeah, again, that just doesn't work. Doesn't work. Yeah, doesn't work. Yeah, doesn't work.
The things that bother you.
I know.
It baffles me.
I'm the odd one. I acknowledge that. I am the odd one. Matt Michelle Byford's weekly visit at about 10:35 on the program today. It's an On the Mark, Off the Mark Tuesday. We got Bucks opened up camp and some storylines. I have a theory in the Bucks that I want to get to you a little bit later on. So all that and much more still to come on the program. You doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Yeah. Just the mulching's complete, by the way.
Nice. No more bags of mulch?
Well, like I said yesterday, I will open the bag and dump, and then my wife usually says, not there, don't step on this, don't step on that. So yesterday, the final bags were opened and poured out. And I said, can I do anything for you? She goes, no, go on your own. I'm like, no. She's like, no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Translation.
Don't step on anything.
Translation, get out of here, okay? Don't touch anything. Okay?
Yep.
So I come back, and I should have thought ahead. You're married 32 years, you got to think ahead. I come back, I go inside. She goes, did you see how good it looks? And I should have opened the door. And I said, honey, it looks amazing. When I got back, all I saw was like 18 bags of mulch spread out. And to her, it was like, this is Sunday at Augusta. And I'm like, where, what? Yeah. She's like, did you see what it looks like? Yeah, it looks like 18 bags of mulch spread out on the garden is what it looks like.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I know, but I was late to that. I know.
Doghouse?
No, not doghouse. I think she was kind of looking for wow, it looks fantastic. I'm just glad it's over. Well, no. The working of the garden never ends. It's a constant.
Yes.
But I think the mulching, at least now this season.
Any new furniture that you haven't noticed lately?
Furniture?
Like lamps?
No. Bathroom garbage can. Didn't see it for like a month and a half. Didn't see it like a month and a half. So one day I go, you got a new garbage can? It's been there for over a month. Really? Yeah. Huh. And it's one of those automatic ones.
Oh,
Like I have one of those
fancy.
in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But in the bathroom. And I don't like it. It's too sensitive.
Yeah.
Like if I'm anywhere near it, it opens up. I'm like, I got nothing for you. What? Close. I got nothing.
Feed me.
Yeah. So that's the most recent thing.
Can we promote something that we
Oh,
just
I
did?
missed a picture frame too, which it's a tough spot. Corner of the kitchen area. She's like, you didn't see the picture I hung. Tough spot. Blinded by an obscure plant.
What kind of picture?
It's a picture from well,
It's not a picture of a couple?
No,
Another
it's-
random couple?
no, it was a place we went to on our trip to Vegas. It was really cool. We got some really neat pictures, and I didn't see it.
Wow. Mm.
Great. So I missed the picture frame, but the $350 I spent that night wasn't good enough. Okay, go on. What now?
Relive the moment.
Believe me, when I paid the credit card, I relived it. Boy, did the memories come back rolling then. Go ahead, what?
Should we promote our new social media?
Go ahead.
Yes, the Beat of Sports is live now on Instagram.
Okay.
The Beat of Sports. Throw us a follow. I will post the dad jokes daily
Okay.
for everyone,
All
as
right.
well as daily show.
We got
clips.
show clips and dad jokes and so forth. So we're up on Instagram.
We are up on Instagram.
So if you're 16 years old, check us out.
Yeah.
All right, here's everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
That's so great.
Mark, I felt bad. I didn't have my sign yesterday.
Okay.
So I have it today.
Placards back. Okay.
All right. I got to find a good one for the Beat of Sports Instagram page here. Mark, what would you call a group of nervous dinosaurs?
I don't know, Chris. What would you call a group of nervous dinosaurs?
Why, that, of course, is a bunch of nervous wrecks. Like T-Rex Rex. Nervous wrecks.
Really working on jokes for that Instagram audience there, huh? All right. Yeah. Saddest, most depressing breakup songs today for Double Shot Tuesday.
I don't know why we're trying to depress
Because it's
people.
funny. All right. My heart's broken. Let me play 6 hours of sad, depressing music. Yeah. You're better to go out and be the lone person in dodgeball that just gets hit for an hour. You'll feel a lot better.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yesterday, there was some news when a story broke that Stanford had some football players that had a meeting on campus and talked about forming a union. And I said that story's going to snowball, and it got a lot of attention. I'm not quite sure it's got a lot of legs, so it's kind of interesting. And then you got everything else going on in college sports, the Protect College Sports Act, which I don't even know where that's going to go. But our next guest has a better idea. To some degree, he lives and breathes this in the D.C. area. Jesse Daugherty writes for a Notice, used to write for the Washington Post for a number of years, and he's going to try to explain some of this. Good morning, Jesse. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. That lead-in music was like, let's talk about unions and athlete labor.
Right,
and all the
exactly. You want to drive into a wall. Exactly, Jesse. Do this some background. What happened at Stanford yesterday, and why do you think, if you do think, it is significant, at least at the moment? I don't know where this goes because we've had this at Northwestern and Dartmouth before, but what happened at Stanford yesterday, or at least was announced yesterday?
Yes. Yeah, so a group of football players at Stanford have organized a chapter with the College Football Players Association. It's not a union effort yet. I think the idea is to create the groundwork for a union effort, both at Stanford and the organization, the large organization, the College Football Players Association, would hope at other schools too, to prepare basically for the political environment changing, for maybe the legal environment changing. There's federal lawsuits about employment. There's the chance that a different White House in 2028 would have a more labor-friendly NLRB. But the reason it's significant, I think, is because where there's smoke, there's fire, at least sometimes, right? Not always. And if Stanford does this, and I know for a fact the association is pretty far down the road with some other schools of organizing chapters, you start to get a groundswell of movement. And you mentioned Dartmouth and Northwestern. Those were actually union attempts. They were filed with the NLRB. They were brought to the table. The difference, to a degree, is that they were siloed, that the people who were working with them, at least at the time, had in some maybe behind the scenes conversations, visions of scaling it across conferences or different schools or whatever it may be. Whereas this effort, I think, is let's get the athletes and the teams and everyone in the door first, these chapters set up, and then in the event that unionization looks like it could be possible, let's hit the button and really push for that. So I think that's why it's significant, but I think you're totally right to say we're not sure if it has legs, and it's a very, very incremental first step.
Quickly, 10 o'clock hour, WY, Tim Orlando, WJRR, HD2, Cocoa Beach, Marc Daniels of Beta Sports, Jesse Daugherty from Notice is with us. We're talking a little bit about the story yesterday with Stanford and possible unionization. Let me get back to that in a second, because you also in your piece write about the Protect College Sports Act, which is interesting. And I think that might be the bigger story that a lot of the normal college football media people missed yesterday. This ongoing movement in D.C., I don't know where it gets, and I think you wrote today might be a deadline if they're going to get to something by the end of the week before the summer session. But I think a college athlete has a better story to go, wait a minute, we're not part of any of this stuff. Every meeting that's going on, they've not invited a single athlete to be part of these discussions, and they're about to pass something that talks about caps and eligibility and all that stuff. Can you update me on where we're at on the college, on the Protect College Sports Act, which is racing against the clock if they're going to do anything before summer break?
Yeah, so August recess is next Friday. That goes for a month. There's belief around D.C. that if it does not get to the floor before, then it gets really hard, just given the legislative calendar, various stuff they're weighing on to put on the floor, also midterm. So a lot of senators will start campaigning either for themselves or for others. So it gets really tricky on the other side of this recess. But they are making some strides in that a big hang-up to this point has been that the Big Ten and SEC were just a hard no. And they've been negotiating. There's some revised bill language, or at least a summary of it floating around. You can find it all over Twitter that that those conferences are considering. It sounds as if they're not actually going to decide if they can support a new version of the bill until they see hard language, of course, right? Like you wouldn't say, we're on board until you know what exactly it's going to say. But time is not on their side, but it certainly feels a little more positive than it did last week when Senate Majority Leader John Thune basically said this isn't happening before recess. He changed his tune a bit yesterday, But man, these things change by the hour, and your brain will start leaking out your ear if you try to follow it too closely. But yeah, I think it does all fit together. I think you're dead on that.
Not asking to talk politics, but you did write Democrats, Republicans may support this, but for different reasons. Why does the Republican side think it's a good idea? Why does the Democrat think this is a good idea?
Yeah, I think particularly with the labor front, like the Democrats and Republicans are frustrated with the bill for different reasons because it actually purports to say neutral on employment. It says we're not changing the status of athletes. We're not touching the employment question. I think that you could find people on both sides who would say even neutrality is taking a stance. There's a lot of Republican senators and House members who would love the bill to be a full-on ban on athlete employment. On the flip side, Democrats who tend to be more pro-labor, more pro-union, would say that these antitrust protections you mentioned that would give the NCAA legal cover to enforce a cap, to enforce eligibility rules, to enforce player movement rules with the transfer portal. These Democrats would say, well, that's basically short-circuiting any union, because why would we players form a union if they can't negotiate any of those things? That's what unions do. They negotiate over the cap. They negotiate over player movement. We're about to find that in a big way in baseball this winter. So I think that, like, what I wrote in that story is that the divide that a lot of Republicans could agree, or a lot of politicians rather could agree that they don't like the way it deals with employment or doesn't, but it's not at all for the same reasons. But it shows you how difficult these kind of bills are, because you can get people pushing against it for the same sort of specific section of the bill, but for entirely different political reasons. And it really can be mind numbing.
Let's get back to the idea of unionization. I don't know why a star athlete today in college sports wants any change to the system. And we talk about even 20 to 23, although we got older ones playing. They don't have to care about the next generation. It sounds good, and we think we learn from professional sports, but I'll just bring two names, okay? If you're Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver at Ohio State, if you're Malachi Tony at Miami, you have an unregulated system. There's no cap. You can make as much as you want. You can go anywhere you want every year. Why would I want to change anything?
Yeah, I mean, frankly, the best argument, if I'm a labor organizer talking to someone like that who, as you mentioned, the system is very, very much working for, probably the best argument is if we don't form some kind of collective bargaining unit, that those in charge are going to make decisions for us. And, your senior year salary might get stunted by new restrictions to payer payment that comes from a Senate bill or a House bill. That's probably the best argument, but I totally agree with you. Like, the Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrows of the world, they don't opt in or out of the NFLPA. It's already baked in, and that's an expectation. But generally, when you go to these sort of CBA negotiations or you get to the bargaining table, there is typically a divide in the interests of the middle class, so to speak, in sports and the star athletes for good reason. I mean, the star athletes are taken care of. They get to go to dinner with the owner. They get to be in the coach's office when they're making big decisions. There's a lot of athletes who don't have that experience, and that's even more exasperated in college in the NIL era, because these are unsalaried capped, budgets for teams that, as we know, like a quarterback can make unlimited amount of money, and there could be offensive linemen making barely nothing. And so the disparities are real, and I think that would make it really, really hard to start a grassroots organizing effort. And frankly, that's why a school like Stanford makes sense, because the money isn't like that for any one player. There isn't a Jeremiah Smith, there isn't an Arch Manning on that roster. Of course, there's guys making more than others, but I would say that it actually makes a ton of sense why that sort of school would be one to put a foot forward in this situation.
Yeah, I think the other side, I talked to ADs and other administrative people, and they say if they want to do that, fine, because when you get to the table, it's a give and take. And as you mentioned, athletes would give up far more. Typically salary cap or owners telling you, I can't control myself, so I need these rules to tell me how to control myself. And I'm not quite sure you can get everybody on the same page with that. I'm going to ask you, looking into a crystal ball, where do you think this goes? And again, I don't know if the Stanford thing goes anywhere. I think it gets a little bit of coverage, but I'm not quite sure it's got a ton of legs. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you think this has some steam when it comes to unionization?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it's a bit of a punt of an answer, but I think it will depend on how the NLRB looks come 2028. Mm-hmm. If a Republican wins the White House again, the president appoints those in that in that office, and that's a big deal. Joe Biden's NLRB was famously very pro-union. He basically changed it as one of his first acts of president after taking over in 2021. So that's a major factor. I mean, it's no secret why Dartmouth men's basketball team withdrew its union petition 2 weeks before the inauguration. They didn't want to be told no. They thought it was better to withdraw instead of be told no by a Republican administration because they thought that would set back the labor movement more. They were advised by big labor groups who said, we really don't want to be dealt a loss. We want to just, pull ourselves out first. So that's, I think, really instructive. So I think the political environment is going to matter a ton. And also, the fate of this bill will matter a ton. If I do think that if the NCAA and conference are able to get pretty broad antitrust protection to set some of these rules we've talked about, mainly with compensation and player movement, then I agree that there's a lot less of a reason for athletes to unionize because those are the things you would bargain over. And that's one of the main reasons to form a union, to bargain with management. So I would say that it's totally up in the air based on those factors. It's hard to sort of handicap the chances of it. I would like to see if it actually does scale to other schools. I don't think one school doing it on its own is enough. I think the majority of teams in a conference organizing under a player association would be compelling in an attempt to bargain with the conference. I could see, really, really big name athletes in college. That's a small list, but that could really help. And I could get other guys to say, he's doing it. I think I'm game too. So you don't really get that at Stanford. So I think those are some of the factors I would consider in terms of chances it has to actually scale.
Jesse, you're in D.C., so it's easier for you. My free advice to Senator Cruz and Cantwell, Ted Cruz, a Republican from Texas, Maria Cantwell, the Democrat from Washington. This is easy. If you want the SEC and the Big Ten on board, it's real simple. Guys, if you don't jump on board in 365 days, all federal funding is gone. And they would run to get it done. You tell Michigan tomorrow $1.5 billion is out of your budget in a year. They'll jump. They'll get on board. You tell some southern states we're going to cut federal funding. It's not easy to get there, but you want to threaten, that's it. They'll play because they don't operate without the federal funding, no matter how much you want to raise tuition. But that's just one guy's opinion way, way, way away from Capitol Hill. What do I know? I don't know.
Yeah, and my only response to that is I think it could be effective. It's just I don't know if those politicians want to be seen as the people who threaten college sports. I think they want to be seen as the people who are shaking hands in a photo op with the leaders of college sports, right? Yeah. I mean, that's because, all politics are local, and you go back and you say in Texas, I delivered some wins for State U, and here we go. Like that's a pretty good thing to campaign on. So. Yeah.
Hey, Jesse's work can be found at Notice. You can get to him on X or Twitter. He's at Daugherty. That's DOUGHERTY _Jesse, Daugherty _Jesse. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Jesse Daugherty, some insight. Again, unionized, it is so many obstacles to get over. And is it just football only? Is it union per a conference? What do you tell the swimmer? What do you tell the track athlete? Who's representing who? There's so many layers to it. It's I think the Stanford story goes nowhere. I'm not saying that I don't applaud their effort. I think the argument is saying we want a voice in Washington, I think, is more powerful, but I'm not quite sure there's a union movement to go anywhere. If you're Malachi Tony at Miami and someone says, hey, we need you Tuesday at 7 o'clock, want to talk about unionizing, he's like, what? Yeah, we're going to talk about getting a union together. Just make sure my money's in my account on Friday, okay? That's all I care about.
But how would that work with a lot of these guys? Maybe they have 1 year left in college, and then they're moving on to other things. How's that gonna?
You're trying to sell 20 to 23-year-olds in the greater cause for the future. That's a problem. That's hard to get support. Again, remember, in the NFL, the last CBA barely got 50% of the people eligible to vote. If you remember the Players Association, you got the latest offer, and your union said, here you go. Please read through it. Let us know if you have any questions, and then vote. Are you in favor of this or not? 50% didn't vote. And you think with 20 to 23-year-olds, you're going to – come on, man. I got a theory about the Buccaneers. Vita Vea says he wants to be traded. He did report today, not practicing, so he's not getting fined. I have a theory on the Bucs. I'm going to run by you and run by Chris, and we'll do that next. Oh, man, I'm not a fan of Alanis Morissette.
What do you got against Alanis Morissette? Is she not depressing enough for you?
This is You Ought to Know.
Yep.
Yeah. Today's Double Shot Tuesday theme, the most depressing, saddest love songs. This isn't a, you want that soft, crying ballad.
It's a breakup song.
All right. So I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
How many teams in the NFL you think can win the Super Bowl before the season starts? I mean, realistically.
Realistically.
Yeah. Like, can
Less
get
than
to a
maybe
conference final.
handful.
Okay, I don't know. My hand may be bigger than yours. So
I mean, we still have 5 fingers.
I mean, my shoe size is pretty big. Is it 5? Is it 10?
I would say about 5, realistically.
Okay. The next tier, meaning teams that could get to the conference championship game.
Probably about 6 or 7.
Okay. Is there any team in the NFC South on that list?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. So I have a theory that I want to run by you.
Okay.
But before I do that, I want to play a couple things here.
Okay.
Okay. The Bucs opened up camp today, meaning everybody had a report today. The 2 key players right now that have a spotlight on them for not football reasons. Vita Vea announcing yesterday through his agent he'd like a trade. Okay, it's July. That's not new. He is entering this season in the final year of a contract, and then Baker Mayfield, the quarterback. So let me play a couple things here from you.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice if I was prepared for this, right?
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. This is Ndamukong Suh, played for the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
Vocal person, utilizes social media platform, and doesn't mind holding back his opinion on things. Why is it when I need to play something is when
He doesn't hold his opinion back.
It's when the Wi-Fi just never works. Okay, let me play this.
We're professional.
Yeah, right. This is Ndamukong Suh on Vita Vea, and what he thinks needs to happen, and what the Bucs need to do.
Okay.
Understood why teams want to wait until the last minute to have discussions or create even further tension in a relationship where it could just be easily clear, clean communication. But why wait till the last minute? To me, it's very, very odd to why not say, if this is a cornerstone player of your organization, somebody that's helped you win a championship, multiple Pro Bowls, and has an opportunity to still play at a very, very high level for your organization. If you value them, you tell them that, and let's figure out a mutual relationship versus waiting to the very last minute. And who in their right mind would go to a job and have no guarantee of what their salary is going to be? Like, to me, I'm not going to go work out for free and play for free. And
a couple things. His contract is not guaranteed for this year, but it is for $17 million and roster bonuses of another $1 million that would get him to $18 million. The Bucs are not asking him to play for free this season. It is a non-guaranteed year, though. Now we play something else for you. Baker Mayfield would like to get a deal done as well. And this is Jeremy Fowler, who was on yesterday on ESPN with a whole bunch of different things that he was talking about. When they got to Baker Mayfield, he shared some thoughts about what might happen with Baker and where things are at regarding the Buccaneers and Baker.
Of the essence, because the Bucs veterans report on Tuesday, Baker Mayfield is on record that he wants a new deal by training camp. Now, if they don't get it done, it's sort of an artificial deadline. Maybe they can keep working at it. So the Bucs need to make some progress here. They want to try to get something done. They are optimistic, but they're going to have their limits. They probably won't give him everything he wants. However, the market is 11 different quarterbacks make at least $50 million a year. Mayfield feels like he's outplayed some of those players. He's got proof of concept in Tampa after 3 years. So It's going to take some financial concessions for Tampa to get this done. Also, Mayfield, he's not scared of the franchise tag. Like, if he were to play this out and they were to tag him and be around $47-48 million in 2027, that could be a route. This is the guy who's bet on himself before. He's not afraid to now.
Okay. The two key contracts for the Bucs, right? Now let me tell you what I think might be happening with Todd Light and the Buccaneers. Is it possible? And if I said today, who's the favorite to win the NFC South? Your favorite.
I
Odds?
have it right now as the Panthers.
Okay. Odds have the Buccaneers as the favorite. Not overwhelming, but the Buccaneers are the favorite. The winner of the NFC South will have what overall record?
It'll be an 8-9, 9-8.
Okay. Are the Bucs in a position that because the division is either so poor or so balanced that they can't transition, whether they want to call rebuild or not, but because the division is there for the taking versus a team, and to the extremists, for example, the Dolphins threw the white flag up and said, we are rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some odd signings, but no one thinks Miami's contending this year because they can't win the East.
Right.
They can't win the East. You got Buffalo and New England. They're significantly better. Are the Bucs stuck because the NFC South is still so wide open that is even you think 9 wins the division? And the theory is, hey, you know what? Until they change the rule, I got a home game. Get me in, and I'll see what happens. If there was an overwhelming favorite other than the Bucs in the South, would the Bucs have a different approach, either one or with both? Because you can make the argument on performance and age. Okay? Last year, the Bucs were in nickel defense 61% of their snaps. The Bucs last year also started doing, not identical to hockey, they were shifting lines throughout the season last year. Out comes this group, in comes the next group. Vita Vea did play in over 70% of defensive snaps last year, but he's 31. He wants to be paid that one last big contract, okay? Chris, that won't be cheap, right? Baker Mayfield, you listen to what Jeremy Fowler said. Got 11 guys that make $50 million or more. He thinks he's outplayed some of them, and we can all go stat hunting to show that he's right. But if you're the Bucs and you're like, listen, we just brought in guys in the defensive line. We just drafted 2 guys in the defensive line. I'm not even talking about Reuben Bain. I'm talking about other rookies that they brought in. At quarterback, we like Baker. He's been productive when healthy. But do we want to pull the trigger on somebody that wants a 4 or 5 year deal? It's going to cost us a ton of money up front, and we have to prepare for the quarterback in the future. Are they in a difficult spot because the South is so either bad or wide open that you are hindering your transition?
I think the Bucs have. It's been kind of, I don't want to say fool's gold, but because the South has been bad, the Bucs, when Baker got there, they went 9-8, won the division.
Yep.
The next year, 10-7, won the division. And then last year, they were right there. And then that collapsed in the second half of the season. They finished 8-9, same with the Panthers.
Right. Yeah.
They just lost the tiebreaker. So they think that they have the team. I think they probably should have drafted a quarterback.
Well, what I'm thinking, I wonder if Todd Light knows he
Todd or
does.
Jason?
I'm sorry, Jason. I keep saying Todd Light. Former
Todd
player
Bowles.
himself. Jason Light, sorry. I think Jason Light knows. Like, do you think Jason Light would disagree with an honest answer of your answers of how many teams go in the Super Bowl? How many teams get to the NFC Championship game? Do you think he would say to you, hey, I love it.
Yeah.
Do you think he believes he got a championship team?
No.
No. So if he's thinking, I don't want to invest in both these guys long term, I don't, because I would be committing dollars that would not be smart because we can't win the title now. So if I can't win the title now, why would I invest long term? Do I think they've been productive? Yes. Are they still going to be productive this year? Yes. And because the South is the way that it is, we'll keep on this path, but I'm going to be cautioned and disciplined to give out money that is going to be a mistake because we are going to have to transition this. I'm trying to do it on the fly. I got some young guys. I want to pay some of the younger guys, including other defensive players that are in their mid-20s.
So,
and because of that, he's stuck. And I don't think he would like saying, he would argue, hey, Vita Vea can't play. He can't play the numbers, but I don't want to commit 4 years. I don't want the bonus money. Same deal with Baker. I don't want to pay that money.
So my rebuttal to that would be then why are you not planning? Why have you not planned for the future? Why is there not a backup in place to replace Baker when his contract is up?
That one's a fair question, but I also think that that the South has been so open and easy in the sense, I say easy, win 9 games, you can win.
And to that point,
It's easier for the Dolphins to go, we're not going to compete with these two teams the next 3-4 years.
with the NFC South being as we'll say balanced as it is, where 9 wins will win you the division, a rebuild won't take you that long.
Right.
You could maybe have a down year,
Yeah.
get a nice draft pick,
I know,
and then the very
but-
next year you're
but-
right there.
But the addiction's also been, look how close we are. And when we win, we get a home playoff game, and we'll take
and
our
then you haven't
chances.
won that home playoff game.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying I think the Bucs front office knows they can't win a Super Bowl. They can't. And I think they know we got to get quicker towards the next quarterback of this team for the future.
So then you know what the Bucs are doing? They're doing exactly what Pittsburgh does.
No, Chris, yes. And I think he fears that they're becoming that. Where at Pittsburgh, it was about, well, the streak for Tom and everything, and piecemealing it. Except Pittsburgh isn't they chose to bring Aaron Rodgers back, and I still don't even know the Mike McCarthy hire. In Tampa, I don't think they want to pay a guy that in an ideal world, they would tell Baker, hey, let's run back what we just did. Same price, maybe a little bit more bonus money with 1 year guaranteed and not 3 years guaranteed. And if you're Baker, this is the one last big contract. The same deal with Vita Vea. You're 31, still productive. No question. But I don't want to pay you for year 3 and 4. I don't want to pay you because I got younger guys that I can pay a lot less to. I think that the Buccaneers are in that spot where they need to pivot, but because you just said, hey, 9 wins and win the division, you're like, I could probably get to that.
Okay, a division win's nice and all, but if you're not doing anything in the playoffs, all you're doing is just hurting your draft position.
And maybe the Bucs should have been more aggressive in doing that. But I think at the end of the year, trying to sell tickets, you want to make people believe they got a shot. And when you throw up a flag, the Dolphins are going to have more no-shows this year. There'll be more empty seats at that place. I think the Bucs are in that spot. That because the South is the way that it is, it's just tempting to go, yeah, but man, get me hot, and I can win a few games.
I've told you before, I do think that Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles are going to be linked together. And if Todd Bowles is gone, Baker Mayfield's not coming back.
Well, then the last thing I'm going to do is give him a big contract. Yeah. Matt and Michelle next. Oh, God.
You wanted depressing.
I would drown in a pool of poison before listening to this song. Double Shot Tuesday, the most depressing, saddest breakup songs. Oh,
Not a Cranberries fan either?
not even at Thanksgiving. Yeah, 50857 the text line. Let's get to Matt and Michelle.
This segment is presented by Bowegan's Beer Company.
Great excitement.
Let's tackle the latest news from UCF and around the world of college football with the Orlando Sentinel's very own Matt Marshall.
Give him the Heisman now.
Hit up Matt on Twitter at OS Matt Marshall.
Nothing depressing. We talk with Matt on these Tuesdays. Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing today?
Matt is with us on the stream. So if you're watching on our YouTube page, 96 on the game Orlando on Twitter, you can see Matt and joins us on the stream. Let me start first. The Jermichael Stillwell news. We talked last week that his name was on one of those eligibility suits. It was in the state of Georgia. I believe Friday is the next hearing, and I'm sure he'll get eligibility. But Matt, you've seen some of the reactions. Stillwell put a tweet up back in May. Hey, if I get a fifth year, I'm definitely coming back, and professed his love for UCF. And yet, I think even frustrated fans understand where we are. He's now since committed to Texas Tech. They put out the graphic and everything, and the price is big. As I said yesterday, I know the number starts with a 2. It's not a 6-figure number. Just your thoughts on the next step of the Stillwell deal, fan reaction, and I'm sure you anticipate he's going to get the eligibility for next year as well.
I think he's going to get that eligibility for sure. It's just a matter of going through the hearing on Friday. But again, this is where we live in the landscape that we're in. When a player decides to commit to a school, and until they've actually put their name on a contract, it's just hard to believe someone's going to remain with the school. It's just there's so many factors that come into this with revenue sharing and NIL, schools making deals behind the scenes and things like that, and it's a challenge. And I think for any school or any fan that believes, they've got someone locked in, they have to make sure they get that signature on the dotted line, because it's just one of these cases. And I know fans are frustrated. I know Stillwell would have been a huge addition to UCF's roster this year. But I think UCF and Johnny Dawkins kind of moved on without him already. The thought of they had to kind of sure that he was going to be able to come back anyway. So I think both parties are going to move on and see where they go from there.
I think what UCF did, and it's easier said than done, they tried to duplicate it. Jermichael Stillwell, 2 years ago, played with Demas folks at UCF in a game for Milwaukee and saw him, and they went out to try to find the next person that maybe is playing up and call that money ball, whatever. It's just the path that they have to do right now. I had Brendan Marks on yesterday from The Athletic about his story of the college basketball payroll, and he and C.J. Moore wrote the piece, project that Big 12 teams this year be about $13.8 million. And I said, trust me, UCF isn't anywhere near that. Okay, yeah. Not anywhere near that. So this is just what they have to do. It worked to get to the tournament last year, but even whatever you think the average is, it's just not feasible because some places just don't have access to the dollars like that.
I remember talking to Johnny Dawkins earlier this month about how do you replace a guy like Jermichael Stillwell, and he told me flat out, you really don't, but you go and you find guys that can do similar things or have their own skill sets that they believe are going to help them out. And so I think that's something that's really kind of where a team has to eventually look at, is just, you may not be able to sign the top players, but maybe you got to find guys that fit what you're trying to do. Maybe you may, like we talk about this with football sometimes, teams that used to go after the 5 stars. There are a lot of teams that won with 3 stars. It's just finding maybe the right individual, the right player who fits what you're trying to do as a program. And there are just some programs that don't have the money, as you mentioned. I saw that piece yesterday from The Athletic, and there are just so many programs that don't have that kind of money. They've got to find a different way of approaching how they build their roster, and building that roster maybe involves more than just, putting $3-4 million on a player. It maybe involves trying to find the player that best fits what you're trying to do.
I don't know if over the years you interviewed Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director of North Carolina, who's going to retire and move on. And I joked with Chris yesterday that somewhere he probably had a big chuckle with his feet up on a desk, That's just an opinion of me because the news of Mike Lombardi yesterday on administrative leave, and then the tea leaves that trickled out from that. There's a board of trustee chairman that thought, hey, I'm going to tell Bubba Cunningham, I'm hiring Bill Belichick. I'm going to let him hire who he wants. And now Lombardi's on administrative leave. More details are going to come out about that. And Carolina just looks like a mess. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think you look at North Carolina made the decision that they wanted to go with a name rather than maybe going with the best fit for what they were trying to do with their program. Now you're seeing the results of that. You know, I mean, again, you can't dispute that Bill Belichick did good things, in the NFL and won Super Bowls and things like that. But how that was translated to the college game, no one actually knew. And now we're seeing it hasn't translated very well. You're seeing the fact that you brought in Mike Lombardi. He's got his issues now obviously going on. Belichick's had his problems. This has become a PR nightmare for North Carolina. I mean, this is something that they didn't want to have to deal with. And instead of talking about this upcoming season and how they look to get better and improve, we're talking about a GM who had to get, who had a complaint against him has been suspended, and now you're talking about things that you don't want to talk about, which is about football. So it's I'm sure I've talked to Bubba Cunningham several times. I'm sure he's probably smiling a little bit on this because this was not his decision. Obviously, he did not want to go this route. North Carolina had a board of trustees member who wanted this route, and now they're paying for it. And it looks like it's continues to be the mess that it's become.
Yeah, I said yesterday, I don't know if you would have hired him, but John Summerall's name was out there even with UCF as Terry moved on with Gus moving to FSU, but Summerall was also in the hunt at North Carolina, maybe using that as leverage, and then somebody came in and said, no, we'll take it from here. I'm not saying Summerall would have taken the job there, but who knows what would have happened. Matt, I'm curious your thoughts. Big Ten Media Days get underway today. These are propaganda machines. We know that, and I think that they'll have a narrative about, hey, our record speaks for itself. What do you think as you look back last week on the 4 days for the SEC? I did not think it was a good 4 days for them. I wouldn't argue anybody that wants to tell me it's the deepest conference in the stadium. I wouldn't argue that, but I didn't think it was a good 4 days when it came across as whining and breakaway talk. What did you make last week of the SEC's media days, and what you think, if there's anything that will be about the Big Ten media days the next couple of days?
Well, I thought, to be honest with you, last week's SEC Media Days lacked a lot of buzz and attraction. If it wasn't for Sankey's comments about breaking away, I don't know if there was anything that really jumped out at me as like, wow, that was something, that impressed me, or I thought that was something that I hadn't heard. You're right. There was a lot of whining. There was a lot of talk about why can't we beat, why haven't we won the national championship the last couple of years? What do we got to do to beat the Big Ten? Oh my gosh, look at the resources they have. Look what's going on here. Sankey's comments about breaking away were taken, obviously, and ran with for days. And I just think I get it. I know where we're at right now in the college landscape. There's a lot going on. We've got a bill that's being tried to push through, the government, to try to, work to try to correct some guardrails and work to maybe help some things out. Whether that's going to happen or not remains to be seen. But I feel like, we're spending a lot of time talking about the things that aren't necessarily football. And we're talking a lot about things that how can we get better? How can we do this? How can we do that? And I think the SEC didn't help themselves very much. The Big 12 didn't do a lot of that, but again, Big 12 had some of its issues. The ACC had some of its issues they're trying to deal with, but it seems like, for the SEC, and I don't know if the Big 10 will try to avoid this. It's just, you're going down a path of, you expect the fans to all of a sudden embrace you because with poor us, look what's going on. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the fan base, the temperature of the fan base has changed a lot for a lot of these conferences because they realize it's a different game. Everything has changed. It's not so much college as it feels like semi-pro in a lot of ways.
Let me pivot. Camps open up for college football around the country, our state. What? Give me 2 or 3 of the most intriguing ones for UCF as Scott Frost opens up camp by the time we talk next week.
Well, I think what's interesting, I was just actually writing this on where our football section is coming out in a couple of weeks, and I was putting a story together. And you look at the quarterback position for UCF. The UCF has had 6 different starting quarterbacks in the last 24 games, and some of that's by injury, some of that's by ineffectiveness. I think Alonzo Barnett is going to be a big storyline going into this camp because we didn't get a chance to see a lot of him in spring. I know he was kind of put aside to kind of let him rest up. They felt like they've seen enough of his body of work. we're going to get a chance probably to see him when camp opens up soon, that we can get on the field and actually see him perform. So that to me is going to be, can they get that quarterback position fixed? Because I think that's something that's really hampered UCF over the last couple of years, is they got to get a solid performance on the quarterback position, whether it's, throwing the ball, running the ball, whatever, even the leadership role. I think they need to find someone who can identify that leadership role. I think the second thing for me is going to be interesting is some of these position battles. The offensive line, we know they're going to need 4 new starters. And I know that, they've brought in a lot of transfers. Who are those guys going to be that step up and maybe take some of those spots? You look at the running back room. Yes, we know Duke Watson's going to be there and Landon Chambers are going to be there, but how does that room kind of shake out? Who's going to be the 1 and 2 guy when it comes down to it? You can talk about defensive ends. Who replaces Malachi Lawrence and Nigel Kelly at the edge rush position? Because you're going to need guys to step up and be able to make some plays. The defense itself has a lot of experience coming back, but you need that upfront presence, because I think that's going to help UCF accomplish a lot of things. So it's year 2 for Scott Frost. And, after talking with him over the last 6 months or so, he feels a lot more comfortable and confident with things going on. So it'll be interesting to see if that carries over into fall camp before they go into the season.
Yeah, I think their O-line is the biggest question. I think you talk about pressure from the defensive ends, and then to me it's wide receivers. Wade and Charles had a lot of promise as a freshman. Who's their 3rd down and 9 guy that's going to bail them out? And then the other one, in fact, you just wrote about this. I don't think people realize how lucky they were a kicker last year. And they're going to go into a season with a guy that may have a great leg. He's never kicked a field goal.
I mean, I've never seen
Not ever.
that.
I'm saying in a game.
Yes. I mean, the last time I think we asked him, the last time he kicked a field goal, I think was in high school. And I mean, it's just, you're talking about a guy
kickoffs at Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had 2 extra points, I think, last year. And I'm not taking anything away from Will Stone. Maybe he comes in and he's great, but that's kind of that unknown factor going in. And then, you bring in a new punter and you got to hope, special teams work. You're going to look at some return guys that are going to have to come up. So there's some areas where I think they've got some question marks. But, again, I think I was asked this the other day. I think this team is a lot better off now going into this camp than they were last year, obviously. I think they feel a lot better. But there's still some issues that I think you're going to have to want to see over the next 4 weeks of camp.
I'm going to age Matt and I right now, and Chris probably has, no, you'll have no memory of. But I saw you posted a tweet. You did a little staycation, and I made reference of preseason magazines. I don't even know who else. I think Athlon still does one. Obviously, Phil Steele's the most, I think, recognized one. But, Matt, I miss the days. I want a good Street and Smith college football yearbook when Athlons, did real stuff. The Sporting News and Sports Illustrated. Old guys like you and I, Matt, that was the ultimate. When you grab those in May and June, when they were just guessing on depth charts and things like that, kids today have no idea how spoiled they were. But, Matt, tell them, the days of the 80s and 90s, you grab a preseason football magazine, that's how you got ready for the season, man. That's how you did it.
For sure. I can remember a lot of vacations where you would get ready to pack your bag, and my wife would be packing a book and I would be grabbing the whatever the latest college football magazine was and shoving in the bag, and you'd be sitting there just reading to catch up with everything. And I still, believe me, my office, I've got shelves of Phil Steele's that go back over decades, and I've got a lot of the preview magazines. Even to this day, I still go out and buy them because to me, it's just soaking up as much as you can. But yeah, you're right. I miss the Street Smith. I miss how thick they used to be. Remember, they feel like you really were getting something for it. Nowadays, everything's either online or you got to, and it's just it's hard to. I still like a media guide, Mark. I like to get a paper media guide. I know people laugh at me, but I love to have one where I pull out and just open it up and sit down and research through it, rather than have to dig through online sometimes.
I just I found the 1980 Street and Smith College Football Preview magazine online, okay? And if you open up on the inside cover, okay, it was promoting Danny Sheridan's college football picks, man. Again, these kids have no idea. Like when Danny Sheridan made his picks, like, oh my God, Danny speaks, and then he was exposed for the fraud that he was. But those were the days, right? Those are the days, and even players are like, wait, did I get mentioned in a preseason magazine? Now they're upset about their rating in a video game, but if they were named in a preseason magazine, that was a big deal back then.
Yeah, you remember when they would get on the cover? If you had an athlete on the cover, it was like the biggest deal. Next to Sports Illustrated, it was the biggest deal because you could say you made the cover of whatever magazine, and it was like that was the huge honor to have. And if you didn't make the cover, that was the biggest slight because you felt like, okay, I should have made the cover for that issue.
I think it may have been an Athlon magazine where UCF in the regional one. Remember, they used to do. I think when they did the state of Florida, it was like a big deal when they finally put UCF on the cover with Florida State. Oh, there's a night there. It's like that was a really big deal. These kids have no idea what they missed. Chris, you need a good preseason magazine. That's what you need.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I need a good magazine.
Clickbait world they live in. Matt, have a great day.
Don't associate me with that.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Matt and Michelle talking a whole bunch of things in college sports. Man, a good preseason publication. You know, the guy's just making up who's going to be playing what position for the upcoming year. Oh, man. The 1980 guide.
I still do buy, like for fantasy football, I'll still buy a magazine.
I'm going to send this to Matt. So Wait, you still do?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just maybe it's nostalgia, but there's just something about buying the fantasy football magazine, then having it ready during your draft. Love it.
Dork.
So you can have a preseason college football magazine.
No. In the 70s, 80s, early 90s, in 2026, the guy that walks into a fantasy draft with a magazine.
No, I don't care. I'm that guy. I'll be that guy.
There's no chance that guy's finishing above 8th.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. No chance that guy's
You're
finishing
as smart as I am.
Yeah. You can listen to the show on FM 96.9 AM 740 on the iHeart app. No matter where you are in the world, you can access that app free. Make it a preset button. You can watch the video stream at 96.9 The Game Orlando on a YouTube page. Access that stream on Twitter, 96.9 Game On, and the podcast machine.
Podcast will be up today. And you can follow the Beta Sports on Instagram.
And the Instagram page is there. Chris's joke of the day. Will or has already been posted?
It will be.
It will be posted.
It will be posted.
11 o'clock hour kicks off with the news next.
Let's really do the news.
Yes.
Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WYJ Orlando, WJR HD2 Cocoa Beach. NFL news. The Bucs have everybody in camp today. Vita Vea, yesterday through his agent, has requested a trade from the Buccaneers. He is at camp, will not practice, but because he's at camp, he is not being fined. Percentage that he gets traded?
I'll say 20.
20%.
20%.
Wow. A little bit higher than I would have guessed. He has a contract for this year. It's non-guaranteed, $17 million and $1 million in bonuses. And we'll see where this goes. Bucs also have Baker Mayfield that would like a new deal. Go back to that Jeremy Fowler report we played earlier. He says Baker's open the idea of the tag next year. The tag will be about $47.7 million next year to play under that number.
Likelihood Baker plays next season in Tampa.
$49%. 49%.
Why do we even ask percentages? What does it even mean?
Well, certain questions, it's stupid, and the answer that I just gave was stupid because I didn't really answer the question. I sat on the fence right there. I don't think the Bucs want to sign Baker Mayfield to a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option. The only way they would do something like that is if the contract is basically a joke, that it's a 1-year deal, that they're paying him a bonus, here's a gift, and here's a 1-year deal. And I get why he wouldn't want that. This is his last chance at a big contract. And
I don't think Todd Bowles comes back, and if you're going to bring in a new head coach, I don't think that head coach is going to want Baker, unfortunately.
Well, maybe, you might be right with that. Ohio State has landed a jersey patch deal with J.P. Morgan Chase. Reports say it's somewhere between $15 to $17 million. I like when the people, again, all the patch value experts jumping on Twitter going, and the Big 12 did 20 for its one patch. Okay, I got it. Just keep showing me the 8-figure patch deals beyond Ohio State and a couple of other brands that can do it. And I'm still waiting for the SEC and the ACC and the Big Ten's patch deal. And then you can have an idea about what you can mock out of the Big 12. You know I love me some renderings.
Real quick, do you think it's crazy that the patch for Ohio State is worth more than a lot of NBA teams' patch deals?
I saw the same thing that Pete Thamel put. No, it doesn't surprise me. Why wouldn't the Ohio State football patch alone be worth more than the Sacramento Kings?
One's college, one's professional.
One draws a massive audience every time they play. The other is the 19th option, including a couple of shopping channels for most people on a Tuesday night. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that tweet, and my first thought was Pete Thamel wrote that, and I was like, well, then you truly have no clue about branding and marketing. Not that I profess to be an expert. Did take a couple of classes in college. Yeah, sure. No question about it. Is a patch on Texas, the University of Texas, is a patch on the Texas football jersey worth more? Here, I'll do this. Is it worth more than the Dallas Mavericks?
Based on what you just said about Ohio State,
Yeah.
I'd probably say yeah.
Here's my point, though. The Mavs are NBA team. Cooper Flagg. At the moment, Kyrie Irving. 82 games. Yeah, okay. Do the people in Houston care about that patch? On the Mavericks?
Probably not, no.
How about San Antonio?
No.
Are there people in Houston and San Antonio that root for the Texas Longhorns?
Probably.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay.
This includes patch branding 101.
Then we can get to alternate jerseys later.
Oh.
Not a fan of Buffaloes.
Top 5 alternate jerseys. Go. Not a fan of that one either? No. What else did I have here for you? We played the video earlier, the squirrel that got loose at the Tigers game last night. Okay. Have you seen the video?
I haven't seen it.
You could do a search of it. You know what I think? First off, they're trying to. You got the grounds crew and a couple of guys, the bullpen, trying to throw a towel. Other guys trying to go grab it. I think they may have on purpose just allowed the thing to run around because it was good to go viral. You watching it now?
Yeah.
Take a look.
I don't know what we're doing here.
You're right. There's like
What are
20
we
guys
doing?
trying to catch a squirrel.
One of them had it in his hands.
But here's the question.
Let it go.
Why are we stopping the game? Just play. The squirrel will eventually find its way out.
Do you
Right?
imagine you're the right fielder, you running hard to try and catch a fly ball, and you just step on that squirrel?
Okay, the chance of that happening is 0 because the squirrel is going to run.
It could happen.
No.
Yes.
It took Randy Johnson throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to get the bird. The bird wasn't standing on the ground, and he threw it at its head. Look at the video. I think they purposely let the thing run around for a little bit. Yeah. Am I really breaking down the squirrel's movements there?
I think that's a little bit embarrassing.
Baseball trade deadline is coming up. We'll see. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. If Derek Skubal goes to the Dodgers, I'm going to take a month off. I will not come in.
I'm willing to bet he's not going to the Dodgers.
I will take a month off. I'm not saying the Yankees got to get him. We need hitting, okay? We need guys who can hit.
Just cancel the season. Cancel the rest of the season. Next season.
No. Although
next season might be canceled already.
I actually think Aaron Boone's done a really good job with the team loaded with injuries. Need hitting, and I saw maybe
it's not Giancarlo's fault.
Saw maybe George Springer and the Astros history playing for the Yankees. My God,
Does he get booed?
Yes, in New York he would.
Even if he's wearing pinstripes?
Yeah, I think he would.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not as bad as that midget at second base, but. Altuve can't wear a Shaq jersey either, by the way.
So he's rocking the Muggsy Bogues.
yeah. He has to wear Muggsy Bogues jersey. That's all. Oh, by the way, renderings. Did you see? Somebody tell the Rays, stop it. Just cut it out. It's as if they got one of the theme park artists, that just draws, working inside the Rays office. And comes down and goes, look what I did today. They're like, oh, put that out. Who cares about the renderings of, like they put out the renderings yesterday of like basketball courts and volleyball courts, MMA, look, conventions and so forth. Stop it. Cut it out with the renderings. It's beyond annoying now, okay? You're almost going to get me to, never mind.
Come on.
You're gonna make me to start really pursuing this thing with Orlando, okay? I might even put on a certain group's T-shirt if they keep doing this, okay? But just cut it out. You're embarrassing yourself. It really is embarrassing. Stop with the renderings once a week, because you know what they did it? Because yesterday it was announced, hey, on that August 20th vote, it's not even on the agenda when the council meets. So they took it off the agenda. Like, there's no progress. There's nothing new going on. You're not any closer towards a financial deal with the stadium. Stop with the renderings, for crying out loud. Like, look at this. We're going to have a UFC fight here. Who cares right now? Cut it out with the renderings. All right. Sometimes it's the speculation and the what ifs that is fun. But when the person involved in the what if tells you what really happened, well, carries a bit more weight. Listen to who says what about what happened next. Oh, come on, man. It's Journey. There's nothing depressing about this.
Again, it's a breakup song.
Today's Double Shot Tuesday theme, the most depressing, sad breakup songs. Journey, though, man. Cool. Want to do a couple things here at football for you, Chris. We got camps all open and everything. We talked about the Bucs earlier today. My theory was, are the Bucs kind of in a tough spot about rebuilding because they're in a division that 9 total wins may win the division, and Vita Vea, through his agent, asked for a trade. Let's get another in-depth breakdown of Kay Adams talking to Sean McVay, and she brings up Vita Vea's name.
Vita Vea requested a trade. Your thoughts, interest?
He's a stud. We've yeah. I think that he is a great player. That's always been a problem to game plan against. But I think we feel good about our group.
He can run
right
the ball,
now.
But you got that
he could
covered
run the
too.
ball. He's real.
The ball.
We got a couple backs that we feel good about as well.
He
requested a trade, huh?
He did. Yes, he did. Coach P, I appreciate you having the practice.
Another in-depth breakdown with Kay right there. Okay, then I'll really take the month off. If I find out that the Rams bring back Aaron Donald and add Vita Vea to go along that defensive front, forget it. Man.
No way. They don't have the assets to pull it off.
Okay, so I want to play you this. One of the many what-ifs in sports, and it's always fun to play that game, but, and we did this on history lessons a couple different times from different angles of the past, when Nick Saban went to the Dolphins, when Nick was leaving the Dolphins, and he's not going to be the coach of Alabama. He was the coach of Alabama. And then there was the whole quarterback thing. And they ended up with Dante Culpepper. This is Drew Brees. He was on the Kelsey's podcast. And this is his version. And I would think it's the most accurate version representing him, Chris, you would think?
Yeah.
So he's asked about what was Miami a real thing?
Yeah, close. I mean, on paper, like that was an obvious decision. It was Miami all the way. Miami had Nick Saban. They had just come off a 9-7 season where they won like the last 7 in a row. So they kind of had it figured out. Defense was lights out. Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor.
Oh yeah,
Saban. Their offense, I loved all their coaching staff. Mike Mularkey was the OC. Jason Garrett, quarterback coach. Yeah. Hudson Houp was their O-line coach, who had been our O-line coach the year before when we had won the division. Loved HUD. They were running the same offense that we were running. Like Miami Dolphins. I'm sitting there eating dinner on Wayne Huizenga's yacht. He's there at dinner talking about, hey, we're gonna go play golf in Scotland every summer with Dan. I got a helicopter over there. We're just gonna hop around. No state income tax. I'm like, dude, this is all paper.
So far, so good, right? I mean, you're thinking
everything's sounding great.
You're like, wow. I mean, it's like the perfect match made in heaven. By the way, not a bad coaching staff at the time. Okay, yeah.
Miami, here I come. Yeah. Right? And then on the flip side, you got New Orleans, right? 6 months post-Katrina, some unknown head coach named Sean Payton, right? Yeah. Who's this guy, right? And ironically, 5 years previous, when I was being like in the draft, Tom Condon, my agent, I had probably 15 teams that I thought might draft me. And he's like, we're going through that list leading up to draft day. And he's like, man, you got all these great possibilities. He's like, man, honestly, the only one I would really not want you to go to is the New Orleans Saints. Like kind of dysfunctional party town, this and that. Like, so I had that ringing in my head as well, right? So again, on paper, it's like, this is so obvious and I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm going to go and I'm going to give each one like it's fair opportunity.
So far, seems like the Dolphins got a big edge, right? Big edge. New Orleans. Like, what? Oh, post-Katrina and everything? Okay, there we go. Yeah.
And like the Miami trip was amazing, with the exception of they put me through the ringer, like 6 hours of this medical testing. Because I was only 8 weeks post-op on an 8-month rehab. So I was nowhere close. I mean, my arm, I'm still kind of in a sling, and I can't do anything. And they do the, the saline solution, the contrast MRI. So I'm like in an MRI for 2 hours, just aching, right? I get out of that. They stick these big needles in my shoulder to test nerve endings. They're wanting to test everything. So I got this.
Uh-oh. Right? Oh, uh-oh.
Feeling of like doubt. Like they don't really, and then their doctors were the ones who told Saban, we think he's got a 25% chance of ever coming back and playing again.
Good medical observation, huh?
Holy cow. And I go to New Orleans, and it's like, you are our guy. Like Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis, you're our guy. We're building this offense around you. They did everything they could to kind of roll out the red carpet despite all the circumstances. I mean, New Orleans was still destroyed, right? And the epic story is Sean Payton, after this great visit there, gets lost in the Lakeview neighborhood. And we're driving through there, and houses are off of foundations, Chevy truck upside down in the living room. All of a sudden, car stops. There's a tugboat in the middle of the road. And I'm looking at my wife like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? But it was also one of those moments like, man, this is so much bigger than just football.
Right.
Like, we get to be a part of one of them, the resurrection of one of America's greatest cities. Like, this is God's calling in our life. And so that.
Well, you can get emotional about the last part, but,
And the rest they say.
Well, but, I mean, we've done this before, the football side of it. Well, I mean, what if Miami doctors didn't put him through the ringer for all the time and just said, listen, it's your call. He's on rehab. He's 2 months into probably 8 months. So there's a little bit of risk here. And what if Nick convinced Wayne Huizenga he's the perfect guy? Let's do this. Just stop and think. Now, it's an assumption that Drew Brees has the same career, okay? If he does it, does Nick Saban ever go to Alabama? Does that ever happen if the Dolphins get the quarterback, he plays and performs and goes on to have the same career? Why would Nick have left?
Yeah.
Nick wouldn't have left. That was his quarterback. They ended up passing on Brees. They got a banged up Dante Culpepper. I mean, that's the other medical thing is he went from Brees to a banged up Dante, and then maybe Nick realized, I don't have a quarterback. I don't want to do this, and I'm gone. But if Drew Brees was Drew Brees, you want to talk about rewriting history on so many different levels.
Yeah.
On so many different levels. Sean Payton maybe doesn't become what everything Sean Payton is, which is a Super Bowl winning coach and thought to be a great offensive innovator. And who knows what Nick Saban would have done.
That's crazy to think about because I mean, Sean Payton was the Dallas Cowboys OC for a few years, and he was great. And I hated to see him go, but, I mean, we've seen what he's done. He's a hell of a coach.
Yeah, great ego, but who doesn't have that? But, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about what would have been had Drew Brees not been his quarterback.
Yeah, it's just, again, if you're Miami, you're like, he's not leaving here until he says, yes, we're selling him on everything that Miami is. And it's like, yeah, medical team wants to take a look. And maybe Dolphin doctors to this day would defend them and say, I stand by it because based on what we saw at that moment, we didn't think he was going to be able to ever get back. And did the Saints just take a gamble? Or did their doctors go, I don't know what Miami's talking about. He's sound to us, and let's go do it. But those two decisions altered so much in the National Football League and in college football. So I just don't know how anybody can go, oh, no, Nick still would have gone to Alabama. Why? If Drew Brees was going to be Drew Brees, and again, it's a big assumption, he would have won.
So let's say Drew Brees then goes to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking back. Aaron Brooks left that year that Brees signed for Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Saints bring back Aaron Brooks?
I don't know.
Does his career continue?
No disrespect to Aaron Brooks, not a significant part of the what if of like, man, what Aaron Brooks could have been.
But it's to the history of the Saints. Like what happens to the Saints?
Oh, again, there's such a ripple effect through all this, and down to college. But for what now has been X number of years, and we're into a quarter century for the Dolphins. What would have been if Drew Brees plays the same way he does?
Steve Gleason he probably doesn't have that blocked kick first game post Katrina.
It's just it's a great what if, and then to hear Brees talk about like, man, Miami's just everything. Like, yeah, we just need you to spend a little bit of time with our doctors. And I guess New Orleans was like, we're good. Give him a chance to rehab, and we'll be fine. Do you have the Brees numbers in front of you? I can quickly look them up. I was going to look up his record, his first couple years
I got you.
in New
Okay.
Orleans. I got it. Here it is. So his first couple of years in New Orleans, 10-6, 7-9, 8-8. Then 13-2, 11-5, 13-3. Yeah. Just the ultimate what if, because there's so many connections to so many things of what would have been. Yeah. And a young NFL, young in how many years in the NFL, Nick Saban, with his quarterback having success, what then would have been built, and he never goes to Alabama. What are you looking up?
Is there you think there's a Drew Brees curse on Miami? I'm trying to see how many quarterbacks they've gone through since 06.
Oh, we've done that before. Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, I got the list. Do you want the list of starting?
Since 2006?
Oh, I'll just
I got you. Dante Culpepper, Joey Harrington, Cleo Lemon, Trent Green, John Beck, all from 06 to 07. Good Lord. Chad Pennington, Chad Henne, Tyler Thigpen, Matt Moore, Ryan Tannehill, Jay Cutler, Brock Osweiler, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh Rosen, Tua, Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley, Quinn Ewers.
Right, and go back and look. Name the last guy that started 3 years.
Be Tannehill, no?
Yeah. Other than him. Right.
Is it Chad Pennington?
I don't know if he did 3 years. I don't know if it was 3 years, but I mean, it certainly feels like a curse to go that long. Yeah.
Yeah, Chad Pennington. Well, no. 09, he played 3 games. 2010, he played 1 game.
Yeah.
Not even a game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, pretty interesting to hear Breeze tell you maybe just came down to a 2-hour MRI. He's like, man, if they just don't do that, I'm a Miami Dolphin. All right, we come back. It's Tuesday. On the Mark, Off the Mark is next. Oh, God. Oh. 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 I'd choose an electric tack gun that just pelt my face for an hour and a half than listen to this.
What's wrong with the Dell?
Nothing, just this song. It's depressing and sad. Yeah. Yeah. Get up, get out, get some air. Don't sit home and listen to sad music.
Hello from the other side.
Let's get down the mark off the mark.
Nope.
Get it off.
It's a Tuesday staple on the beat of sports. On the mark, off the mark. Presented by Bowegan's Beer Company. Bowegan's, recrafting perceptions.
Oh, man. That was fun. Mark, we have drama in Chapel Hill. GM Mike Lombardi placed on administrative leave while the North Carolina football team is being investigated by the College Sports Commission. This is not a good start to Bill Belichick's tenure with the Tar Heels, as the team in his first year went 4-8, and now with an August 29th season opener game against TCU in Dublin,
Let's go Frogs.
right around the corner, they
Big
have
12
all
pride.
of this
Go Frogs
to deal with.
Yeah.
For Bill Belichick, it's been a tough stretch since 2018, which is when he last won the Super Bowl. He's had 3 losing seasons. 3 of his last 5 seasons in New England were losing seasons. You got the 4-8 last year with North Carolina. This controversy. Would I be on the mark or off the mark for thinking that the legacy of Bill Belichick is now forever changed and he should have retired when Brady left New England?
Well, he threw 2 things in there. I would agree that he should have left when Brady left.
Chris is right.
But legacy, look, I think the further we get from Bill Belichick's, what I think is going to be 2 years at Carolina, it's almost like a Jordan Washington Wizards. Nobody remembers or cares. His legacy is going to be fine. The longer he lingers, the more people are going to think about this. And I like to think the legacy really matters to Bill Belichick. And if this season goes as disastrous as people think on the field, even before the Mike Lombardi embarrassment, I just don't know how much he's going to want to keep doing it. I think what he and other people that he brought in learned is that the NFL business model is significantly different than the college model, regardless of how people in college think it's going that way. And they thought they would easily attract the best players to play for Bill Belichick, and it just doesn't work that way. And I think he quietly realizes that, and I'd be stunned if there's a year 3.
He was 5 years removed, again, from his last Super Bowl. I think he went 3 seasons in a row with losing seasons in New England.
But I think he's fine if he walks away. I still think people are going to remember the Super Bowls. They don't remember the final few seasons. Yeah.
All right. Puka Nacua is entering the final year of his rookie contract, and he's coming off a season in which he posted 129 catches for 1,715 yards and 10 touchdowns. Those would all be career bests. Him and JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, came into the league the same year, with JSN being the 1st-round pick and Puka a 5th-round pick. JSN, as we know, got paid, while Nacua is waiting to get his 2nd contract. He's had his off-field issues that I won't get into, but would I be on the mark or off the mark for believing that because of those off-field issues with Puka, the Rams will let him play out his rookie contract, franchise tag him next season, and then either let him walk or try to trade him?
Oh, again, you throw a bunch of stuff there. I don't think he's getting a new contract this year.
Chris is right.
And tagging is also possible. I don't know about just letting him walk or trade. I think maybe it's a little bit of the Rams going, it ain't the on-field production thing. Maybe we got to grow up before we give you 9 figures here. So why don't you prove it this year, and then we'll talk. So that's what I think is more realistic. I think the Rams have made it clear we're not interested in signing you to anything now, and we got tag ability. So if you think you're stuck here, you're going to be stuck here for a while. But do us all a favor and grow up.
So he's got, again, entering his final year.
Yeah.
Franchise tag next year. So he's got at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Unless the Rams then again want to decide to franchise tag him a 2nd time.
Yeah, which that costs you more, but
I don't think they would do that. But I think by that point, they've either decided, hey, we are going to sign Puka long term, or they're going to at least try to trade him and get something for him.
I don't think there's anything wrong if the Rams said, grow up. It's not on the field. It's the other stuff. Grow up.
No, he definitely needs to. We talked about it today. Vita Vea entering the final year of his 4-year extension that he signed. He is looking for a new deal. There's rumors out there that his preferred spots, if he were to be traded, is either somewhere in California or
Rams or San Francisco
or Las Vegas. Those are his rumored preferred destinations. The Bucs lost Mike Evans, quarterback and head coach, in the final year of their respective contracts, and now Vita Vea wants out. Not to sound too alarmist, but am I on the mark or off the mark for believing that the Bucs will be a middle-of-the-road team this year, followed by a rebuild next year?
Here's the thing, though. You're almost helping the point that I was making in the 10 o'clock hour. Middle of the road still could win the division. That's and if you missed it, I asked Chris, I go, are the Bucs in the NFC South hindering ownership management of doing a full pivot and not a massive rebuild? I mean, on the NFL, that you can turn things around quickly, but because 9 wins can win the division, then you're a little bit more hesitant about what you want to do. But yeah,
the Bucs
is right.
The Bucs are the Steelers. They're becoming the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They're similar in some ways. I'll give you that.
They're going to be middle of the road. Obviously, the Bucs aren't going to have the streak of non-losing seasons like the Steelers have, but I mean, they're happy trying to win the division and then not doing anything in the playoffs.
And I think you've got a GM that is trying to pivot, and which is why I don't think he's going to give Vita Vea a massive new deal, or Baker Mayfield.
I think Baker would be more likely to get one than Vita, if I was just throwing it out there. By now, we've had time to digest LeBron James signing his 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Who? When did that happen? Yeah, go ahead.
Missed it, huh? He joins Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and the newly signed Jaylen Brown. Or newly traded for Jaylen Brown. Expectations are championship or bust, and rightfully so, in Philly now. We've seen James a part of big threes before, but would I be on the mark or off the mark for believing that there will be too many egos and mouths to feed for this experiment to work in Philadelphia?
Off the mark. I mean, ultimately, it's on your front office GM, and in this case, Nick Nurse, the coach, to make sure that everybody understands what everyone's role is. For example, I think it is up to Nick Nurse and the front office to sit down BJ Edgecombe and say, you are part of our future. You are a superstar to be. We made this decision to bring in these guys, and we're going to tweak a little bit of the system. But it's why I think guys like LeBron and Joel Embiid are not going to play 70 games this year. And you can look at a guy like BJ Edgecombe and say, look, we're going to try to play this smart. There are going to be some nights that you won't have LeBron there. There are going to be some nights you don't have Joel there by design, and that's when we need you to be your guy and go score your points and so forth. But if you're defining as it won't work, meaning championship or bust, I would disagree with that. I think the Sixers are still going to be a force as the playoffs begin. I can't predict if even when Embiid plays that he's always healthy, and he has no track record of playing 3-4 rounds of the postseason, but I don't think it's going to be a disaster.
The more I think about it, the more I kind of think it will be. Jaylen Brown, essentially, he wanted to become Batman. He didn't want to be a Robin anymore. He wanted to be Batman, right? Now he's going to a team where he might be a second, third, or even fourth option on some nights. That's not gonna bother him. Tyrese Maxey is a ball handling point guard. I think it's been reported that LeBron James will be handling the ball and playing point guard. How is this going to work?
I don't know. And I'm not a big, but I understand usage rate, and it's the worst combination you can ever have based on their usage rate. But I still think the Sixers are going to be a very difficult team in the East this year. I still think that they're going to be a problem for people.
I think they will, but I don't know. I do think it's championship or bust just because the name value to everyone on that team.
I don't doubt that the perception today is, but I always talk about the journey. And if I sent you now to the Eastern Conference semifinals and the Knicks and Sixers play 7 epic games in a playoff series, you could say it was a failure because they didn't win a championship, and I would say it's a great series with 2 teams. It's possible to not win a championship and still say it worked based on what you did to get there. I bet, if they get there and Embiid's broken down, then that's what happened this past year with him.
One more here. Beat of Sports has an Instagram page now. On the Mark or Off the Mark. Marc Daniels will be posting a lot of behind the scenes. Him at home, maybe lounging in a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Marc Daniels will join the Instagram
Yeah.
crowd.
Yep. Wait till you see the coffee picture I post today. Yep.
You're going to post some meals that you
Stop in
cooked.
the middle of a run and just like take that in-action photo of myself. See the sunset off of Lake Ivanhoe and be like, hang on a second. I think I want to share this with people. Maybe wash the dishes and kind of smile into the camera with a sponge. All of that's coming to the Instagram page. Yep. That's the content you're going to be signing up for.
Awesome.
Yep.
On the Mark, Off the Mark.
Put a wrap on the Tuesday show next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends. Ooh,
that's the craziest thing I ever heard.
According to the Financial Times, FIFA President Gianni Infantino is planning to sell stakes in the World Cup to private investors in a deal that, of course, would benefit him financially. If you want to go read it and you see who's connected to it, you'll do the eye roll. And either A, you'll be like, no big deal, or you'll be like, yeah, of course. But that scumbag needs to be removed from the position that he has. And UEFA, the governing body of European football, has already said it ain't yours to sell, Daddy-O. And hopefully it leads to enough people that makes that, you-know-what, get removed. Because I'm telling you, this country put on a wonderful World Cup. And a lot of good, hardworking people that FIFA did. That guy needs to be removed because it's hard to find bigger scam artists in the world than that guy when it comes to sports. Anyway, tomorrow Keith Smith will talk some basketball with us. Our good friend Eric Adelson's back. We like to do a little sports journalism ethics lesson, and he'll share some thoughts and some stories that are interesting to us when it comes to that. Chris, have a great day.
You as well, Mark.
Podcast Machines Fix. If you want to listen to this show in podcast form, go where you get your favorite podcasts and type in the Beat of Sports on demand. You can also watch the video stream back. Go to YouTube 96 in the Game Orlando. Have a good day. Chris produced. I'm Marc Daniels. We'll see you tomorrow with the Beat of Sports.